Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So today we will do the first of the series of the topic of true love, because Valentine's Day is coming. So we thought we'll take this opportunity to talk about the concept of love itself. It doesn't hurt to refresh and revise this concept, because it is, one of the most used word in this world as well, right? So let's get started. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. Let me share my screen and get started. I've already shared my screen,
Yeah,
right?
you've already shared the screen, yeah.
You put it in full screen mode. Just let me know when you're able to see it.
Yes, all good.
Okay, we'll start with our opening prayers like we always do. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramartanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. So today we will cut the chase and directly get to the topic. The usual are fulfillment, happiness, full success, happiness, fulfillment series will continue when we get back to the shloka series. But over the next few sessions, we will talk about this topic. I'm probably concluding it on Feb 14th, which is Gopi Prem Divas as well, in the world called as Valentine's Day. So we'll talk about this topic of love and try to put it in perspective. Good to see you, Prabhat, and good to see you, Gupchan ji, as well after a while. So let's get started. You see the big heart? That's what we're going to talk about. So love, it's a governing emotion. It drives the whole universe, including animals as well. As you see, um, it's one of those emotions which is agnostic of the species that you're in, right? It just comes naturally, and there's a reason for that as well that we will talk about. So regardless of which species you are in, you can see manifestation of love even in nature. If you try to harm a kitten, right, or any even small puppies, you know how their mother, it can turn into tigress. It can go beyond its means to protect its child. That is how strong that emotion is, right? And that is all driven by love. In fact, in HR, human resources, they talk about four windows, Johari window, right? They talk about things that you know about yourself, and everybody knows about you as well, right? Like, this is something you have in you and everybody knows. Then there are things only you know, nobody else knows. Then there are things which others know and you don't know about yourself. Those are some of the blind spots you have. And then there are things that you don't know about yourself, and even people don't know about yourself. It's like a complete blind spot. And that can get uncovered in situations, and love could be one of the catalysts for that as well, right? Where those things will come to the fore which even you were not aware about yourself. That is how powerful this emotion of love is. And it's a very natural emotion, and it is endowed to us by God for a reason. And there's a reason why we feel so strongly about it as well. And we'll talk about the other side of it as well, and we'll look at it from a worldly perspective as well. This whole definition of love, and then the transformation or the distortion it goes through in the world. and the different aspects related to it as well. So let's get started with this topic. So emotion of love, it drives the whole universe, including animals. We know that. Okay, this is how love is expressed. Right? These days, we have heart emoticons and stuff like that. So love, affection, care, whatever that means is, I think, displayed that. So this topic we are going to, in this series, we are going to cover some of these topics, such as what is the definition of love, what is true love, and more importantly, because we are operating in this world, it's important to know this question, right? Tackle this question and bring some understanding, clarity around it. Can we find it in the world around us? Okay, so it's a very important question. And then when we tackle this question, we don't simply do intellectual gymnastics around it. We have to do that a little bit from our standpoint, but it would be with a reference from scriptures, like they call. We are going to employ a scriptural lens or a shastra chakshu to this topic to understand what this emotion truly is. How does it truly manifest in this world? So it's important. We're going to have a lot of discussion around this topic because this topic, at least the philosophy that Maharajji has given us and Swamiji has simplified it for us to presented it to us. It's a mind-blowing topic. If you think about it, it's a super mind-blowing topic because it touches every aspect of our life. So let's get started. What is true love? Okay, from the definition itself. So today, because I've not taken a Bhagavad Gita shloka, I'll take it in due course of time. But let's start with a definition. It is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, so it says basically Atmendriya Priti Vaicha Thare Bali Kama. So it's basically differentiating the different manifestations. So it says the desire to gratify one's own senses is kama or lust. But the desire to please the senses of Lord is prema or true love. Okay, prema or love. This is what is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the standing of Chaitanya Charitamrita is like it goes even beyond Bhagavatam. See, Bhagavad Gita is what you call that. Uh, uh, it's a distillation of the scriptural knowledge for us, distillation of Upanishads for us. And it ends at perfecting your surrender. Okay, that is the tool or the techniques God has given us, starting with Karam Yoga, the science of work, and increasing the spirit of surrender towards all that things that we do. And it ends at Sarv Dharmam Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braj. And so it ends at moksha or perfect surrender. Now, Bhagavatam starts with Kaitav Rahit Dharam. Kaitav Rahit means nothing which is tainted with selfishness, which is Dharam, Karam, Arth, Moksha. Leave these four things aside. Okay, Bhagavatam says. And then let's enter into the depths of Bhagavatam. It gets into the depths of devotion. And where Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita starts, it talks about pure love. Okay, and that's where picked up this from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says that with regards to love, when we are doing any activity and it is catering to our senses, okay, any activity which is catering to our senses, it is lust or some kind of a manifestation of lust. Only when our desire is to please the senses of Lord, then it is love. It's a pretty profound definition. So we'll get into that more, but let's start building onto this topic. Okay, let's start with the story now. You have a goat here. Somebody thought, okay, I'm going to do some interesting experiment or play a prank. We used to play a lot of pranks in school as well. So they employed a goat. Okay, not just one goat, they got their brethren and cousins as well. Okay, in the school at midnight when nobody was watching. And they went on to christen them as well. Okay, put some labels. Goat number 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and then 6. Now, can you find the fifth goat? Morning, people come and say, oh, goats are there in the school, and they start searching for it. Goat number 1 found, 2 found, 3 found, 4 found, and 6 found. And then fifth one is missing. And they keep searching for it. So will they ever be able to find that fifth goat? Can they find it? I mean, they can bring a goat, label it 5 and say, okay, I found it. But the fact of the matter, they cannot find. Why? Because there's none. It doesn't exist. So we'll see whether the true love that we are trying to find in this world is that fifth goat or one of these goats. Okay, this is what we will try to uncover as part of this discussion. Okay, is it the fifth goat that we are trying to search here, or that goat truly exists and there is a way to find it? We have just not figured out the way to find it as yet, but it is there. Or we can create that goat and then possess it. Okay, we will try to tackle this question throughout the discussion today. All right, so let's move on to the fifth quote. Let's apply the Shastra Chakshu around it. What do our scriptures talk about this concept of true love? So it says there are three relationships that are possible in this world. Okay, three. There are three manifestations of this concept called love. This, of course, a most overly used, probably abused word as well in this world, right? I'll tell you my first introduction to this, not introduction, but my first grand exposure to this word, okay, love. So, of course, it happens when you start going to high school, right? In our high school was very different and much more dumbed down version of the high schools we see here. So yeah, when we were getting out of the school, people, they take scrapbooks. So I also had a scrapbook. And one of the things it asks is, what is love? And I approach a girl, right? And ask her this question with a lot of hope and enthusiasm that I'm going to get a very nice response on this one. And the response that I got was not too very encouraging. Okay. So what was written there was loss of valuable energy. I said, what kind of a response it is? Nevertheless, I didn't have guts to probe it further. But then I said, what does it mean? Okay, I mustered up the guts to ask, what does it mean? Then I got an even better response. It said pollution of mind. So it was very disheartening at that point. But nevertheless, it was very reassuring when we came across this philosophy that that was not the right thing. Love actually exists. So and whether true love exists or not is a separate question that we are going to tackle very systematically. But no, it's not completely loss of valuable energy, because this is an emotion that governs the entire universe. Our scriptures say it manifests in three ways. What are those three ways? Let's look at those. The first one is called lust, calm, that we have seen through Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anything that is catering to our senses is lust or calm. The second one is called business or vyapar, okay, which is like transaction, give and take kind of a thing, right? We had a barter system earlier, now we have a currency. We also deal in social currencies with people. It does not have to be like when we go to a shop, we pay for something and we get something out of it. So that is, we are giving the currency or the price for that thing and getting back. And even in the world, something similar happens. We'll expound on it a little further. And the third one is, of course, love, prem, that exists as well. Okay. So these are the three manifestations of this particular emotion that we are talking about. Now let's go a little further. Oops. Something interesting happened anyways. So continuing to build on that, let's expound a little further on these three. The first one is lust, calm. What does it mean? It means that when our goal is to take, and take in a particular relationship, that is our only goal. Any relationship that gets established, we'll look at the different relationships that get established in our lives just merely by virtue of us existing. Right? It's an occupational hazard of being a human being. Then there are certain relationships that get established as part of being born as a human being or a Homo sapien. Now, when our goal is to take, and take, that is called lust. And we look upon it as a sensual desire in literal terms. But our scriptures inform us it's not limited to sensual desire alone. It is the self-seeking nature. Okay, when you are just focused on seeking for self, it is termed as lust. Okay, we'll go a little deeper, putting some real relationships into picture and then seeing where do we fall into that spectrum and why. Then the second one is called business vyapar. This is where when we engage in reciprocity, give and take, that is business. Such relationship is called a barter. Right? Barter system used to exist before the currency came along. So this is the reciprocity based system where now if you look at the first one, that is withdrawal based, purely withdrawals, nothing else. Okay, you may have an overdraft there working, you don't know that, but it is completely based on withdrawals. You just for your if your only aim is to keep on withdrawing and withdrawing. Okay, either intentionally or by virtue of who your what your sanskars are. And in the second one, there is a bit of a balance there that has to be maintained for it to work, where you engage in reciprocity and you make deposits and you make withdrawals. If there is an imbalance, then things friction can happen, but there's a delicate balance that has to be maintained in this case, right? You cannot do an overdraft. You can do overdraft, but then it can cause problems. Or if you are simply depositing without getting anything in return, that can also cause some problems as well. We'll look at it through some examples so that we are able to understand this concept, not just theoretically, but with through some real life examples or scenarios or analogies as well. Okay. And the third one is called love or prem. That is going to be the focus of our discussion. Anyways, so this is when our goal is to give and give, give and give. G, that is love. Okay. Now, goal is to serve and give happiness to the other. That is the only goal. I mean, very high goal, right? In that sense. So this is the goal. So if you look at the goal in the first one, goal is to take. The second one, the goal is to give and take. And the third one, the goal is to give and give. Another definition of love is eternal forgiveness. Eternal forgiveness. Okay, that is what love is. Pretty high concept, right? Lofty concept to understand from that sense. But what does it mean in the real life relationships is what we need to really put our thinking hats on and talk about it. And that's where I would like to have a good participation today so that we truly understand it. There are things, see, when we get into an autopilot mode in our life, we are not truly able to reflect what's going on, in our head or in general in our relationships, right? So it's only when we take a pause and reflect on things, then we are able to bring in a bit of objectivity around that situation. Otherwise, we are just going with the flow and emotions alone. So that's where we'll have a bit of a discussion. But and then as you can see by the definition of love itself, it is exceedingly rare and sublime. Exceedingly rare and sublime. Okay. It's not something that would come so easily. And it is in serving the philosophy in the back of the mind, and it is in serving one gets served, and it's in giving one receives. Okay, if we are intellectually convinced about it, regardless of which relationship we are operating in, that is the part of our DNA, then we are capable of operating at this level. Okay, it's a very simple definition. Now let's move on. And now world, 99.9% of the world operates in these two categories. Okay, I would say probably we'll see if it's 99%, 90%, 80%, 50%. Let's leave it for later, but I've circled it for a reason. We can revisit it. So let's move on and talk about some of the divine laws now. Let's think about it. What do we need to think? Divine law number one. We don't have a choice but to seek happiness. Does anybody disagree? Somebody says, I'm a masochist. I don't need happiness. I need misery. And I've been striving to find it for a while and nobody's helping me find that misery. All right. We all seek happiness. That's a fact because we are part of eternal or perfect happiness. And as part, we have to seek the whole. We don't have a choice. You don't have a choice but to seek happiness. It's a law. And we have spoken about it, right? A kid or a baby, a newborn, it declares it as soon as it is born by crying. It declares to the world that I have come here for happiness. By crying. Why crying? Because to alleviate the pain of, because it's a pretty painful process to get born. Right? It's a very painful. So when we cry, it takes away our pain. So when we lose a near and dear one, why do we cry? If you will not cry, will you be put behind the bars? The police will come and say, you have lost your near and dear one. If you don't cry, we are going to put you in jail. No, it just happens. It's a spontaneous manifestation because our soul is crying. Soul is crying that I want to feel normal and happy. And when soul cries, it manifests in form of the real tears that will come up because it wants to feel normal. It wants to feel, it's an unnatural state for the soul not to be happy because it is anusat, anuchit, anuanand, right? In its true form. So we don't have a choice but to seek happiness. Okay, that's a fact. It's a divine law. The second divine law is material world cannot provide fulfilling and lasting happiness. That is also a divine law. Saints have said that, our scriptures are telling us. They have said that it is possible to grow grass on top of a tortoise shell. I don't know if somebody has seen that or not, but say it may be possible. It is possible to pass a camel through an eye of a needle. Okay, it is possible. The scriptures say it is possible to extract oil out of sand. I don't know if science has been able to figure that out or not. But it is not possible to extract happiness from this material world. This is what our scriptures are saying. You may think you are churning this butter to extract, this yogurt to extract, or milk to extract butter out of it. But the thing is, it will never, because it's lime water. Lime water, you keep on churning for the rest of your life and it will never come out. I think this is also a divine law. So what does it mean? Then there's another fact here. The other fact is, we have been striving or searching for this perfect happiness since time, eternity. Now we have to seek happiness. We don't have a choice. We are in material world, so we will continue to chase happiness, and we've been doing it. And our scriptures say that perfect happiness is bliss of God. The happiness that you're seeking is in God. So what does it mean? That means it takes us to the third divine law. We have no choice but to be selfish because we are seeking happiness and we haven't attained it as yet until we have attained that perfect happiness. This is the third law. Okay, this is the third law. It may hit like a tons of a brick. At least first time I heard, oh, come on, am I selfish? Yeah, it's a fact. Our scriptures are telling us you have no choice but to be selfish. Maharaj Ji has written in one of his Vyakhyas, right? Joi Swarath Pehchan Dhanya Soi. That means you are selfish, but if you truly understand where your self-interest is going to get fulfilled, then also the job is done. You have done a huge favor to yourself. The problem is we are not seeking it in the right direction, but it gives us the opportunity to introduce the third law. Now, if we introduce this third law, that we have no choice but to be selfish or shellfish, whatever, until we have attained that perfect happiness, that means, going by that definition that we had, the third one, love, prem. We said when our goal is to give and give, that is love. Our goal is to serve and give happiness to the other, then it is true love. And we are saying exceedingly rare and rare. I hope you are able to put both of these together. Why it is so exceedingly rare and sublime and difficult. It's not that we don't have best of intentions. It's not that we don't want to do it, but it is, until we have attained it, how can you give it, right? Until your cup is full, how can you give somebody other thing, right? If you are a beggar, how can you give other person money? And this whole drama that unfolds in this world is a beggar going to another beggar asking for money. And then this beggar does not give, then they try another beggar. So that beggar can also not give. And the third beggar and the fourth beggar, and this beggar seeking happiness from another beggar or seeking money from that just continues and continues. Okay, that is the problem. So let's try to map it to the real world scenarios and have some discussion going around it. Okay. So here is the spectrum, two sides of it. Let's think about it. One is the lust, calm. One is the love, prem, the other end of the extreme, right? And in between comes business, vyapar, the transactional part of it, or give and take part of it in the relationship. So if given that, this is our world. You see, this is our world. It's me, my spouse, my family, parents, board, friends, and then all the material hooks that we have. These are the different things that typically we get engaged in. Now you can read through it, and if you think, no, there is something relevant or important or worth mentioning that it is not there, we can do that. But typically, this is what our world is in any lifetime. Now, which end of the spectrum does our relationship fall under? Let's have an open discussion around it and get some thoughts growing. At work, in office, what do you think? Lust, calm, business, vyapar, love, prem. Let's have a open discussion, and it's important to wear your thinking hats and really think how our mind operates in every aspect of it and see how we can move towards that aspirational state, so to say, in all walks of our life, right? Because then only we'll be able to extrapolate or extend it to the spiritual thing as well. Not that you have to do it necessarily, but it's a natural manifestation of how we cultivate our mindset around anything and everything that we have to interact or associate with. All right. Yes, it's on there.
Business. Can you hear me?
You're saying business, huh? Okay. Business. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, we get paid for what we do. Is it tilted more towards prem or it's business? But if you were to
It
say
varies.
ratio aspect of it, is our endeavor more towards taking, maybe some time off,
Trust.
getting paid for something we haven't done, or taking a free ride if somebody else is working on my behalf? Think, where the proportion would lie it at our work mostly, and that reflects on the mindset that we are cultivating here as well. Shriramya, go ahead. I think you had raised your hand. Let's hear from Shriramya, and then we can come to Prabhat. Shriramya, you had, yeah, Prabhat, go ahead. Then we can have, yeah, Shriramya, go ahead.
Uh, it is Vyapar, but it is more inclined towards selfishness. Nobody cares about whether my organization is growing or not. Everybody thinks that am I growing or not? Am I getting the money or not? We really don't care much about how the organization is performing as long as we are paid well. So it's business, but more inclined towards selfishness.
True. I mean, it is business, but I think somebody's saying more inclined towards selfishness. Fair point. So let's keep a mental note of it. Yes, Prabhat, go ahead, and then we'll come to Rahul.
Radhe Radhe. So basically, I can relate it with the yesterday class where you have mentioned about the triple A, all about attitude. So it's depend upon our attitude whether we can consider it as a love or dream, the parents say. So we can categorize it as per our attitude. So if we are thinking that we are doing it for serving others, then it will come to that.
It's all
That's
it's all
the
about attitude. Very true. I think it comes from the presentation that was made yesterday by Cash. So yes, it's all about attitude. In fact, there's another saying in English which says that it is your attitude and not your aptitude that determines your altitude. So yes, attitude matters a lot, and AAA was the acronym we that was introduced yesterday. Yes, thank you for that. Yes, Rahul. Rahul, go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I was waiting for some other category here because I think this is very great.
Okay,
Yeah, business
I will
and
introduce a lot of categories. Okay, next one is going to elicit a lot of responses, I'm telling you. So rest assured. So in office, did you want to add anything or?
no, but this is same, yeah, same with Sri Ramya and
Okay.
something.
All right, let me introduce then with, okay, let me introduce all the categories. Okay, not why do. All right, pick up any category and go ahead. Tell me which category you think it falls into and then which side it would it tilt.
I think the easiest one is with parents. Yeah, that is also business vyapar, but little bit tilted more towards love or prem.
And can you explain a little bit why?
Yeah, I think the like for the parents, definitely they try to care about us like since our childhood, but sometimes I mean at the back of their mind it is there that yeah once they get old and we will be taking care of them. So that certain level of selfishness is definitely there. But yeah, I think mother and the son or mother and the daughter relationship is like one of the highest selfless. I mean, if it is very close to that selfless thing, then we can think about that.
True, very true. We'll come to that part as well. Because with parents and kids, there are also two-step thing, right? There's a the flow of your love or prem. One is upward, one is downward, right? Which one is more stronger and why? We'll talk about that as well. Yes, Havaji, you wanted to add something?
So for me, I think it depends on the individual for any of these categories, right? For example, even if it's with your parents, I could think that it could be love or prem because they raised me, they gave me. But for someone else, it could be you did this, like if it's another son, daughter that they had, it could be you do this for me, I do this for you. Like for at work, for me, I know like people that know me, it's purely my self satisfaction, right? It's my attitude towards work. Whether they pay me for 8 hours or 12 hours, I will still go for 16 hours. That is my attitude. So I think your attitude and your thought process, or whether it's at work or with your kids, it's your own love or your prem or your how you think about the relationship that gets you to any of these.
True. Got it. Perfect. I think you brought in an interesting part. Even at work, somebody might be doing a tick box of, what is supposed to be done and limited at that. Somebody might be going over and above. Like you said, you might be working for 16 hours, but is it, you're catering to your own senses because you feel good about it, or you care about the company or the shareholders that you're working for? Right? That is also the point here. So that is also catering to your sense at some point only, right? Even if there are people who are workaholics, why do they really care about the company? No, they just get a kick, derive pleasure and kick out of the work that they do. So that is very true. There also you are catering to your senses only. It's not about really caring about the shareholders or anything. I mean, that could be one of the fallouts, positive fallouts of it. But end of the day, the attitude or the thought process behind that is again catering to your own senses, right? Let's move on to something interesting with spouse. What do you think? Which category would it typically fall into? I see some smiles already. Abaji smiling. Amrutavani ji smiling too. Go ahead. Anybody who wants to take that? Make sure your spouses are not around, right? You could be in trouble in that case. Yes, Komal. Komalji, go ahead, please.
Radhe Radhe everyone. So I believe it again depends on the scenario, but moreover, it's like a business, give and take. And sometimes may fall towards lust, where one person is like just want to take. Yeah. But I think it's more like a business, I would say.
Business, or again trending more towards self-seeking, which is
Self-seeking.
some
Yeah.
part of it, right? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean there are scenarios, right? If you see some people, they are like saath chiyenge, saath marenge kind of scenario. That's how it starts, right? I've seen so many. But where does it get wrong in that case, right? And everybody thinks they'll be the first different couple of this world. So they enter every relationship with the best of intentions. Where does it get wrong in that case is the question that needs to be asked fundamentally. The thing that happens is, even with spouse, if you think about it, it is not kamna rahitam, desire without desire, or gun rahitam, or without gun, that you're not looking at. Okay, if you ask somebody who are getting married, okay, why are you marrying this boy? He's well settled, earns well, um, likely to get a green card, and good looking also. Here's why you ask marrying this girl. She looks good, you know, she's very religious, sarvgun sampan, cooks well, and does a lot of stuff. Now the focus is on the gunas, the attributes that they bring to the table, right? Not so much about what can we give it back to them. That is how we enter into a relationship, right? What if, you know, you marry somebody with a note that saath jiyenge saath marenge, and the next day the girl wakes up as an 80-year-old hag overnight? What will happen? Think about it. Or conversely, the guy wakes up as a 90-year-old hag, right? Where will that love go, right? Because that can vanish, that can evaporate, because it was limited to some of the attributes that you got attracted towards, right? And that is how we are conditioned. I'm not saying it's bad. That is how we are conditioned, right? We are scripted that way. And we haven't attained that perfect happiness. So it is based on, Narad Bhakti Darshan says, the attributes of love are gun rahitam, kamna rahitam, swasukh kam. I think I may be getting it, I mean, not perfectly right, but something like gandhalesh shunya. Basically, not even a trace of self-seeking, which is a very, very high concept. We'll get into that true love as well. Okay, if the bad news is it's very rare and sublime, the good news is that it actually exists. Okay, whether in this true world or not is a separate conversation. We'll continue to build that. But the fact is that even with that, it is a relationship based on vyapar. You make credits and deposits, and as long as the balance is maintained, the relationship sustains. If the balance is not maintained, your happiness, the perceived happiness, is getting blocked somewhere, then the friction will start and that imbalance will start, and it will start manifesting in some way or another, right? Elizabeth Taylor, I don't know how many times she she married, about 11 times, I believe. I don't know. So then this concept of love at first sight and divorce at first fight, we know how common it has become these days, right? So, but then with spouse, like other, we'll talk about other relationships as well. Is it again in the similar kind of a spectrum? You know, tilting more towards, like Komal just said, that more towards business and the calm aspect of it, take, or the business and the love aspect, it trends towards the other half in other relationships. We'll talk about that. So yes, anybody who wants to add any more remarks or comments to this discussion that we just had on the second?
Komalji just added in the chat, expectation which turns into disappointment.
Yeah, but think about the root cause of expectation. Expectation breeds from attachment. Attachment breeds from repeated thinking that there is happiness in this thing that I can extract because of whatever reason. And why? Where is happiness breeding from? Just because you are a human. It has to, you have no choice but to seek happiness. Now you have thought happiness is in this person, in this way, in this form that I can extract. You have repeatedly thought about it, and it has become an attachment. And now it has become an attachment. Of course, expectation will come. And then when the expectation will come, there can be only two outcomes, right? A beggar giving you money or a beggar not being able to give you money. When the beggar will give you money, you'll be happy temporarily. When the beggar is not able to give you money, you'll be upset. And that cycle keeps on repeating. Factually, we don't have an ability to make anybody happy. Spiritually, people, spiritually mature people, or who acquire you know, or continue on that, they start taking control of their things in their own hands as opposed to putting it on other people, right? It's like claiming your keys for your happiness as opposed to thinking that other person is responsible for my happiness or misery. That is a very spiritual, naive attitude, right? The fact of it, it's all, the buck stops at us. We'll continue to build on this. Let's hear from Keshavji and Pratyusha, and then we will go to the kids' parents. That's a little different kind of a nuanced discussion around that we will have, and then relatives, friends will get to that as well. Yes, Keshavji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Very interesting topic and lots of work you have put in. I can see that. So let me say, take and give. So I am putting it that way. Give, get and give and get, give.
True.
Now, the first one is Tamogun. The second one is Rajogun. The last one, give is Satogun. And but we have to become Gunati, above rise all of these. That we have to do after surrendering to Kishanji, Kishan Bhagwan. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice. Thank you, Keshavji. As always, you articulated it very well, and thank you very much for that. Yes, Pratyusha, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
First of all, tell me,
Actually,
is Saji there or not? First, tell me that.
there.
Go ahead.
Interesting. So yeah, like what I have felt in this spousal relationship is initially we both have no clue, and then as the time passes, it keeps increasing, and we both motivate each other, in various levels. First is, okay, you have this interest, I have this interest, continue. And then, somewhere those interests merge and we become, we go together. And then, what the spirituality helps is like it gives us more, knowledge that the relationship that we have each other. So that even enhances, the togetherness. So the whole point is to grow. So if that is happening, then it is not always selfish. It may start from that point, but it will, if you work on that, it will grow.
Good point. I think you brought in a good point. So it requires a lot of spiritual wisdom and a conscious effort to make it work, especially if you have made inner growth your priority. But if you want to get hung up in worldly, mundane consciousness, right, for whatever reason, it is bound to cause friction at some point in life. So it definitely requires a lot of exertion and an attitude that needs to be consciously cultivated over a period of time, and then you can become a springboard or an asset for each other. Otherwise, again, that imbalance would happen because our gunas also have a play, right? And two people having the same guna, same proportion at the same time, again, is very difficult. But yes, with spiritual alignment and with spiritual depth, you can make it work and make it tilt more towards from lust, the calm aspect, to the love, the prema aspect of it. But yes, that is certainly achievable and doable. May not be perfect, but you can certainly trend towards it, is how I would put that. Great point. Thank you, Pratisha. Yes, Sandhya.
There is a comment from Shalini ji.
Mhm.
Love changes over time. Spouse starts with love and become business when you have kids. Love towards kids is the purest form, so prem. And parents is also love, but changes when you have kids.
Yeah, so love is something is not a function of time. So if it has to change, if we go by a strictly scriptural definition, it is pratikshan vardhamanam. Every moment it should keep on increasing, right? So it should not keep on decreasing because it changes, because it's a function of a lot of things. What you are feeling, what you are getting out from that relationship, what your expectations are being met or not. It's a function of a lot of self-interest that we carry, and that is why it keeps on fluctuating. If it is true love, then it doesn't change, right? Gopis don't say that, okay, love you, hate you, and they don't play that game with Krishna. That we hate you today, okay, today I'm feeling, loving attitude towards you today, tomorrow I'm not, okay. It's not like Dallas weather, which keeps on fluctuating here and there. If it fluctuates, it only keeps on getting better with time. That is true love. Not that today I love you, tomorrow I don't, and again now my feelings have come back, again my feelings have gone. That is not love, right? We had when we came here to US, we were staying in an apartment, and there was an old man, who would just roam around with his small puppy. So we asked him, what happened to your wife? And he said, you know what, after 35 years of marriage, one day she just told me, I don't love you anymore. And she walked off. So that is not love, right? So we are not capable of doing that. It's not that people are bad. They have the best intentions, but intention pathway to hell is also paved with best intentions. So it's not just about intention. It's about understanding, unraveling the deeper secrets, and then trying and committing our best to understand that. We'll talk about how do we get to that stage, right? It's not that you think and you fall and you start doing true love, right? There is a systematic way to gravitate towards that state, is what we will discuss on Valentine's Day, right? We will talk about solution also around it. But yeah, good discussion nevertheless. Now let's get to the umbilical cord relationship with kids and with parents, right? That is a little different in that sense, because think of a mother who has given birth, who has given free hotel accommodation and food to a baby in her womb for 9 months and brings forth that nature. That relationship is very special, right? Umbilical cord relationship, as they say that, or for that matter, with your parents who have raised you, who are who have chiseled you, and play a large role in defining who you are today, right? All that stuff happens. So that relationship is a little different. Which one would it gravitate towards, and why does it fluctuate as well? Can it fluctuate, or it keeps on increasing and remains the same? And which one is more stronger, towards your kid or towards your parents? Let's hear a little bit about that as well. Yes, Shanji Gupta.
Yes, Radhe to all. It is so because of the changes of society. You see, it's so different now because we got situation where kids grow up and kill their parents, and so there's some really drastic changes in a way. When I came to this country and I went to school, the teacher, I hear the students are saying, "Oh, I hate my parents." And I said, "For why?" Because I guess Desis have a different relationship and understanding of the world, and things may be so hard, but you might lose a little bit of love for your parents, but you don't lose it totally where you go and kill them.
Good point.
So it's a tough because one, and to put into perspective, it's like when I grew up back home in Guyana, there is only the basics is to survive. There's no electricity, there's no telephone, and all the amenities. So our choices were just able to get something to eat and shelter. So the life are a lot simpler. Now the world get complex. I got my phone in my hand. I'm talking to you, talk to everybody else. So the whole world is different. So this love about, and the category about love right now, what you have described over here might be something ancient because it's very hard to see that.
Got it. Point.
Incorporating in this kind of study. Radhe, thanks.
Radhe, thank you, Chanji. Yeah, so I think the theme that probably came out it keeps on fluctuating, and it's rare to see that love aspect of it, especially I don't know how far that is true. But let's get some more perspective on that. Shalini, please go ahead.
Radhe, Nitinji. So thank you. This is a very, very important topic, I think. And I was like thinking about it. The reason I said that, the love toward parents decreases over time, because I've seen so many people here in the US who say, their parents are old and they say they love their mother or father, but the parents are like, they need help and nobody is taking care of them. So is that love? I mean, is that what they're just saying like that?
It's not, right? It's like their self-interest or is no longer, or their perceived happiness from that relationship has diminished over time, right? Something to that effect. But if you think about the natural cycle as well, you feeling more intense towards your kid, the downward I said, right? Is natural than upward, and that basically takes keeps the, what you call that, the cycle going as well, right? It's very natural if you do that. But the fact is that also diminishes. It's a function of something. It is business vyapar. It might be leaning more towards love, right, in both the relationships. But then over a period of time, it may start reducing as well, because it's a function of some factors that are at play. It's not selfless. It is not basically just for the sake of other. If that was the case, it would increase. And it's very subjective as well, right? Different people have different ways of going. Which way they would trend, we don't know. But the point
is it like the intensity reduces after some time because you have kids and you have more responsibility, and then you start diminishing or taking the love from parents and give it to the children?
True.
Okay.
True.
Thank you, Radhe.
So it keeps on fluctuating is the theme that I can yes, Abhaji, and then we can come to Prabhat and Sandhya. Abhaji, you wanted to add something, or Prabhat? Go ahead then. Yes, Prabhat.
Yeah, am I audible? Yeah. So basically, you have asked one question that related to which is important. Like sometimes there is a relation in which we came out of them, and another one is the one who came out of us. So that completely depends upon the situation and the need of that particular individual. Like if I talk about a kid, then it's our responsibility to take care of that particular individual for the time that particular individual rely on us. And in the similar way, when our parents get older, and they are also our responsibility. So this thing depend upon their requirement and their need at that particular moment of time. And there was one more. There is also an important point. Someone told us that um, the love decrease with time. So that is for material love that we have, the love we have in material world. So that love decrease with time depending upon our interest. But if I talk about the love, real love, uh, that increase every time. Like there is a song, I can just uh, I can just put up one line of that particular song is that जितना भी तुमको चाहे कम लगता है इसीलिए ये इस हर पल बढ़ता है.
The voice is
That's
breaking.
for true love. So
It's
I'm saying जितना भी हम तुमको चाहे कम लगता है इसलिए ये इस हर पल बढ़ता है.
maybe you can put it on that because your voice was breaking. We could not
Okay,
hear you clearly.
I can put it on chat.
Sure. But yeah, thank you. That's there. Real love, which should actually increase over time. In fact, our scriptures say that the relationship that comes closest to selfless love in this world is a mother-child relationship, right? The umbilical cord relationship that we spoke about, that is the one which comes closest to that because she, like I said, she has, given birth, bring forth that nature or that new life, and that too not in a jiffy, that too holding it in the womb for 9 months. So that relationship is special. Having said that, our scriptures also say that is also not completely selfless. It comes closest to being selfish, not completely selfless. Okay, and that is one of the reasons that Mother Yashoda, she did not got a seat in Maharaj because she also had a sense of entitlement. He belongs to me, so this is what I deserve or desire out of him, kind of a deal. So it is completely selfless. That is a very high concept, right? In material world, we find it difficult to practice, and spiritually, you can understand what it would take to get to that level. But we'll talk about some of the stuff that can help us get into that kind of a mindset, at least that kind of a mindset, and help. And that mindset, if you think about it, that can be extended to all walks of life. See, at work, if you really work on your skills, that is a win-win situation for you as well, right? I don't say you break your neck over that to cater to your ego or just because to get a kick out of it. We have to balance it with our seva sadhana and other aspects as well. But then if you really think about giving it, right, it's like, okay, I'm going to justify my paycheck, but leave a little on the table in giving rather than taking. If you have that mindset, it'll work as serve us in good stead in all relationships. You leave something on the table for the other as opposed to keeping everything for yourself, right? There was a story of a boy who goes to a coffee shop. I don't want to say any particular brand here, right? So, but any coffee shop, he went to coffee shop and it says basically how much is a medium latte for, and it says $5. So he said, okay, and how much is a small one for? It said $3. And then he said, okay, give me a small one. So he gets the $3 one. And then he offers a $5 bill. He said the $2 he had preserved for the tip itself. So the motive was to give even in that transaction, not just to take, right? So that kind of a mindset, if we inculcate, that would probably help in all the things, right? Easier said than done because of our conditioning, because of our sanskars, because of our natural order of mind. But that is where knowledge comes in handy. The more we contemplate, the more we align to it, the better off we are, right? That's the whole idea. Yes, Sandhya, go ahead. And then let's get to relatives and friends, right? I mean, friends also we have saath jiyenge, saath marenge, especially when we get out of the college, right? We used to have a tradition, a boy will run all the way till the train has left the platform. Okay, that used to be a ritual when you leave your college. After a year, nobody's there to be seen. We'll do this reunion, that reunion, and all that stuff. So it's a function of a lot of factors there, right? These are all worldly emotions we ride, but if you put it in perspective, they're very fleeting, very transient, and it all eventually boils down to the function of are they adding any value, right? Or is your self-interest being served by them or not? If not, you'll forget all the oaths and vows you would have taken, when we were in college and stuff like that. Anyways, let's move on. Yes, Sandhya, go ahead.
So regarding this kid and parent thing, I wanted to add this point about attachment. I think this is again also a function of attachment, and that I think it varies. So a person tend to have higher degree of attachment with their kids than with their parents.
Mhm.
And kids also are, pure and innocent. That probably also act as a function when it comes to expressing that emotion towards them. And there are a couple of comments, if I can read them quickly.
You brought a good point where they are dependent on you, so you feel overflowing love for them. And the moment they start saying, okay, mom, give me a break, I know it myself, mom will also start taking a back seat. And then that emotion will also, that intensity will also start diminishing. And if the kid starts, doing bad, saying stuff and all, I mean, that intensity can change. It can take another turn, right? You see father and son fighting, and a lot of incidents come in newspapers and stuff like that. So those kind of things can happen as well. It transforms based on how your self-interest is being served at any given point in time. The point I think we're trying to make here is it fluctuates, and because we are all dealing with the our self-interest in our heart in all these relationships, it's bound to cause a friction somewhere or other, right? And that is where it is important to us to invest in spiritual knowledge and understanding and try to practice it to the best of our ability and take help from God, Krishna, your Ishtadev, to say, I need help on this one. If you don't do that, there is absolutely no way we can get out of this rut in any of the relationships or any of the dealings that we have, because we will be compelled to act in accordance with our self-interest, and it is bound to cause conviction. If you don't have any friction in any relationship in your life, then you are not on, you're basically jivan mukt, I would say, already jivan mukt. But if you're having, it's good news. That means you're still human and work in progress, and there's something that can be done about it. Yes, Rahul. So now the question point here is, yeah, go ahead, Rahul. And I want to go back to the previous slide just to drive home the point that if you go back to these laws, all the laws are at play here. Okay, we have to understand these all laws are at play, and we have to navigate through this knowing that these are the truths we have to deal with. We are going to continue to operate out of self-interest. We yet don't know. Give and take is what we are aware of. If we are in the lust category, it's better to calibrate it more towards give and take first. If you're in give and take, trend more towards give, and then you start going a little deeper and hope that you'll get help from God along the way as well. Yes, Rahul, go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Swamiji beautifully explains in multiple videos about the withdrawal and deposits we make in the relationship, and that is how the balance can be maintained.
True. And that is also because of our self-seeking nature, we end up doing more withdrawals than deposits without even knowing it. Without even knowing it. And our self-seeking nature can manifest in a lot of, see, even if when a spouse, they have a fight, right? Swamiji gives a very beautiful story that the husband wife had a big fight. So husband said, okay, I'm going to, walk out of the house and spend my night in the car itself. So he goes and sleeps in the car that night. After a while, the temper of wife had cooled down. She said, okay, let me check out on the guy. Okay, poor guy, we had a big fight and what condition he's in. So she goes with a water bottle to meet him in the car. Apparently, the anger of the guy had still not settled down. So he throws the bottle back. And that throws back, then the wife's anger comes back again. She said, okay, hell with you. I came to make up and you're still, because it's still self-seeking, right? If it was completely for the other, they would have. So this is how our conditioned state works. And then that's where we have to take control, respond and react, and then think about these principles, that okay, we are subservient to these principles, and because of which we need to do something different now. Okay, we need to trend more towards give then rather than take. Give and take is a bare minimum in this world, okay, for us to operate effectively, right? It's only with with wisdom and some kind of a maturity we are able to sustain relationships by maintaining that delicate balance of give and take. Whenever that balance shifts, then we know frictions can happen, and then how quickly you rebound is really depends on the maturity of the individuals. Otherwise it can go on for life, and sometimes the entire life is spent, right? Where Maharaji explains in one of his lectures that there was a husband and wife, they fought, and their son was Pappu, and throughout the life they say, Pappu, apni mummy ko, tell your mother this, and the mother will say, Pappu, tell your father this. So Pappu became a conduit for them for the rest of their life. And that can happen too. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to add something?
Question and comment in the chat. So, question from Samiranji. Our parents give us birth, do all the best of things to give us love, success, and happiness. And if we are not able to return that rin back to them, is it that we fall short of loving them back?
I don't know. See, it's a balance. Only God will know what is your debt and how whether you have discharged that duty or debt appropriately. That's why they say Pitri Rin, you can discharge it by, serving your kid and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a pretty complex algorithm in that sense. But in general sense, if you think about it, we need to not run away from our duties. We have to take care of people who have given us birth and taken care of us, right? And that extends to people who are in their life as well, right? Your spouse, kid, and pretty much people who are dependent on you. So that's usually a good policy. But how much balance and stuff like that, nobody would know, right? It's very difficult to. We can only do to the best of our abilities and with a sense of purpose and duty around it. So if that consciousness, that intent is there, that is the first thing we can inculcate and then do our best around it.
And yeah, Abhaji says it is about understanding. Love fluctuates when your kids are young. You focus your attention, but when your kids grow older, you understand your parents and your love starts growing towards them.
Right. So this is why I had circled it. Okay. This is where the world operates. I said I will come back, revisit the circle. This is why we did that. It's mostly that it's important to get it at least to give and take or trend more towards give. Then we are spiritually evolving. Otherwise, we are getting stuck there only. So that's the whole idea. And then we will continue to build on this topic about true love and get into, what true love is and how we can start trending towards it. What can we do in our day-to-day lives so that it is helping us in our spiritual journey so that we start trending towards that. Yes, Sandeep, wanted to add something?
Just last comment. The lines that Prabhat bhai had shared were these. जितना भी हम तुमको चाहें कम लगता है, इसीलिए ये इश्क हर पल बढ़ता है. So this is for Krishna.
Very true. Very nice. Maharaj ji has also given this line, right? प्रेम में है सदा देना देना, सोचना भी नहीं कुछ है लेना, लेने वाला बड़ा भोला भाला, ब्रज के रसिकों में शामिल नहीं है, लाखों महफिल, right? It's a beautiful bhajan. You can check it out. Nice. So I know we are on clock now but let's take Keshav ji, or please fill out the feedback tracker. It's an interesting topic. If you have any other remarks, comments, things that you want to discuss, put it in the feedback tracker. Next couple of sessions we're going to spend on this topic only. We'll culminate on Valentine's Day, Gopi Prem Divas, I would call it. But it's an interesting topic and very practical topic that gives us an opportunity to really deeply reflect about it. Yes, Keshav ji.
Hello, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
I wanted to say only 5 alphabets: A, B, C, D, E. Kids, all born cute. All born cute. Maybe animals, birds, human beings, everywhere. Then D, E. D starts drinking at the time of birth, drinking. And then starts eating. And when eating starts, biting also starts. Eating and biting. There you go. You got it. Radhe Radhe. You made my day.
Thank you, Keshav ji. I think you love acronyms, so I've seen that. So very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so with that said, I think we can move to our next segment, which is the bhajan chanting segment.
One quick comment. So Falguni Desai writes, I think fear also should be a part of this because fear of being left alone, not loved also makes us selfish. And therefore, so many times we think that we love, but it is also somewhat born from this fear.
That's very true. Fear is also born out of that only, right? Insecurity, fear, anxiety is about unwillingness to accept an outcome that we think is not good for us, or where we think our self-interest will be harmed or it is under threat. That is what causes fear, right? So we'll talk about that as well, maybe in tomorrow's session, or we'll tackle that as well. So fear, anxiety, it's also breeded by attachment only, and with an understanding that, see, end of the day, what happens? Think about it. Let's simplify this whole equation. There is one plan that you make for yourself in life. Then there's a plan which people make for you in life, right? Typically, you overpower that. You go with your own plan rather than going with the plan of people. You may initially when you are young, but typically we go with our plans. And then there is a plan which Krishna has for you, God has for you. That plan supersedes all the plan. And the fear, anxiety, complaint, whining, non all this breeds from the fact that we are saying that your plan for me is not acceptable for me because what I thought was my plan was better than yours. Essentially, that is what we are doing. So if you think about it, if acceptance is something which is just simply accepting that, okay, oh, the plan that God has for me is the best plan for me because he's my protector and well-wisher. So that feeling would take away some of these insecurities, fears, and stuff like that. Great, good discussion. Let's move to our devotional segment. With
One
our
quick announcement, Nitinji, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Tomorrow we have Saraswati Puja that will be happening at the temple. So do you want to add something, Sandhya?
The donation part, like whatever one donates for Saraswati Puja, that can get added to your fundraiser. It's very auspicious, so definitely consider doing that. And I think it is going to be broadcasted online as well.
Broadcasted in the same Zoom, Rich, the same Zoom. It's from 6 p.m. CST, 5:30 a.m. IST.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ma.
Man Karun Sumiran.
Sumiran kar le mana.
Karlo.
I
Karlo
I
mana.
wanted to say this, Nitinji, this is Valentine's special session. And even in the bhajan lines, there is Sajna word.
Wow, such an hour. All right, let's do that then. It's a beautiful bhajan that we have been reciting as part of our devotional. So encourage people to come forward and do that. Let's get started. Go ahead, Sandhya. There's a couple of hands already.
सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना हरि सब उर है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना.
Very nice. Thank you. Yeah, it's a coincidence. I think Maharajji arranges it that way that he just gets it. I remember when I think last year we were doing the different bhavs, and the way it worked out was when we reached Madhurya Bhav, it happened around Valentine's Gopi Prem Divas only. So I don't know how it coincided with that, but that's where like some invisible hand is always there. So things are very nice. Let's take Shyamji. First we'll take faces and then we'll take hands.
राधे राधे, थैंक यू सो मच. सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना हरि सब उर है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना राधे 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 राधे. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Shyamji, you bring in two kinds of tears of devotion and tears of happiness also. A lot of people, they laugh and they turn off their cameras as well at times. then you do that Sumiran in fast
It's
track.
all Krishna's grace and will. Thank you so much. I'm part of it.
Yes, yes, it's all Krishna's grace, the way that word comes out, immediately. Like a blip.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you. Meenu then Pratyusha, Swati ji, Priya ji.
Please go ahead, Meenaji.
राधे राधे सुमिरन कर ले मना चिन चिन राधा रमना हरि सब उर है मना ये मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन कर ले मना चिन चिन राधा रमना राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe, very nice. Beautiful. Thank you, Meenu. Pratyusha, go ahead.
राधे राधे सुमिरन करके मना छिन छिन राधा रमना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना हरि सब और है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना हरि सब और है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मन मना उर में है तेरा सजना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मन मना उर में है तेरा सजना राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe, very nice. I don't know, this bhajan is so nice, it's such a good routine to add to. So I think we should pick like Maharajji's one bhajan at a time like this. But this one is, I feel like it should not get over. We should just continue with this one itself forever. Very nice. All right. Okay, we see three hands. So let's take the three hands. Last three hands. Actually, we're supposed to take three only, but last three.
Go ahead, Swati ji.
Yeah, राधे राधे सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना हरि सब और है मना यह मन श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना थैंक यू राधे राधे
Very nice. Thank you. Radhe Radhe Swati ji. Yes, Shri Ramya, go ahead and let me raise my hand as well. I'll also sing this last. Go ahead, Shri Ramya.
सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना हरि सब और है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमणा थैंक यू
Thank you, Shri Ramya. Very nicely done. So I think we can play it as the theme. The lines, these are the theme for our sessions for the next 2-3 days, I would say, right? We can repeat these. It's a very beautiful lines, just hitting the point directly. Maharaj Ji is saying that simply accept it. God is dwelling within your heart and He's your beloved. He's just waiting for you to turn your back towards Him. That's pretty much it. Great. So let me do that as well. Yeah, Riya Ji, go ahead, please. Then I'll go.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना हरि सब उर है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Riya Ji, and thank you for turning on your video these days. Okay, so I'll go
Thank
and
you.
okay. सुमिरन कर ले मना छीन छीन राधा रमना हरि सब उर है मना यह मान श्रुति वचना बाहर ढूंढे क्यों है मना उर में है तेरा सजना सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. All right, so with that we come to the end of the first of the series of What is True Love series. We'll continue on this discussion tomorrow and day after as well. So thank you again everyone for your enthusiastic participation like always, and especially thanks to all of you who have turned your cameras on, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Stay blessed, have a wonderful rest of your evening and a great rest of your day. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.